Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where you don't at Luke Harper unless you're Randy Orton. It's Lost in the Midcard. Welcome to our Backlash preview show. Yes, we are to our first pay-per-view after WrestleMania. It's going to be the first co-branded pay-per-view under the current brand split as well. So we will break down the current 8-match card that is on docket for tonight. Or for Sunday night, I mean. We will talk about that tonight, though. And we'll also talk about what else is going on in the wrestling world and cover some Raw, SmackDown, NXT. But first, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. What you got to do is search for Lost in the Midcard. Hit that subscribe button. That way you know every time a new episode comes your way every Thursday and Mondays after a WWE pay-per-view. And you can also subscribe to us on the YouTube. The links to all that are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/LostInTheMidcard. You can also follow us on the Twitter at LITMC Podcast, where we also share a lot of the great wrestling tweets from throughout the world. And trust me, there are a lot of great wrestling tweets. So we retweet those for you. So give us a follow there. I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JBHuskers. And back on the show for the first time in a little over a month, let's welcome back Mr. at Raw F Showtime on the Twitter, Matt Black. Matt, welcome back, man. How you doing?
I'm back, bitches.
Too bad. I should have had the Eric Bischoff music queued up here. You know, I'm back. The old AC/DC rip.
Oh man, April was hell. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, that'll put it lightly.
Yeah.
We haven't had Matt since a couple of weeks before WrestleMania. Thanks to Daryl for filling in for Matt for a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Doing a killer job as always. Daryl is going to join us on Monday's show when we break down Backlash, so he'll join us for that. A lot's gone down since you were last here, Matt, but we'll just kind of piece those together as we come about them. First off, let's talk about the greatest Royal Rumble. It was on Friday, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Friday lunchtime for most of us here, even a little brunch for some of those on the West Coast. And Matt, it was a good show. And it was something I hope the WWE does more often on the network. Give us more of these. I mean, there wasn't many oh my god moments, but it was a very solid show, I thought. What were your thoughts on Friday's show?
It was a fun, glorified house show.
Mm-hmm.
Which was really the best way I can describe it. My main issue with the whole thing is how hard WWE promoted this.
Yeah.
As if it was going to be an event on par with like a WrestleMania.
Bigger.
And in reality, like, look, I enjoyed the show. It was fun. But if you missed the show, could I recommend you going back and watching like this 5-hour show? Like, absolutely not, because nothing changed. Like, you didn't miss anything by missing the show. Right. Like, if you want to watch just some fun... just some fun wrestling, you got 5 hours to kill, go for it. But this definitely was a very missable show. And there was no, consequence of missing it. Like, WWE missed out on a gigantic opportunity by being able to go on Raw and say, hey, if you missed the greatest Royal Rumble, you missed, Roman Reigns becoming the new WWE Universal Champion. Or just something along those lines. But, I mean, you screwed that up, too, because he won the damn match, and he still didn't leave with the title.
Yeah.
So, but it's just... When you hype something up so big, like it's going to be such a big deal, and you give us that, you're going to get to the point where you're gonna tell us that a show upcoming is going to be big and important, and people aren't going to believe you, and then it's finally actually going to be big and important. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be too little too late because no one's really tuning in, and they just figure, they'll just read about it later.
Yeah, I mean,
it needs to be careful with stuff like that, man.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot of surprises in the 50-man Royal Rumble match because...
See, I wasn't. I really wasn't expecting surprises in the Rumble, mainly because, if people were over there, we would have known they were over there.
Yeah, true.
Because, you know the talent that's hanging out at the hotel. So, if you're reading the internet, you're gonna know, who's over there with who's over there with the rest of the talent. So I really wasn't expecting any giant surprises in the Rumble, but I was really expecting a Universal title change. You could even make an argument that the IC and US titles could have swapped shows again. They easily could have done that if they wanted to, but they chose to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
and I think that's a bad call by WWE in general.
And on the show, both Daryl and I last week predicted Nakamura was going to win. So
yeah, I would not have predicted that. Honestly, the no contest is what I would have predicted because I would have put dollars to donuts that these guys were going to be rematching at Backlash, and they weren't going to give us a conclusive winner at this event. So I definitely would have been against you guys on that one. Nakamura might win this Sunday, however. But we'll be talking about that later on in the show.
Rusev lasted 3 times as long as John Cena did against The Undertaker. I thought Rusev looked pretty decent. He got some good offense in. I was happy with that.
Taker gave Rusev a lot more than he gave Cena, and I very much appreciated that.
and that's by design, probably. I thought Triple H and John Cena was exciting, and I think the crowd had a lot to do with it. I mean, that crowd was hot. Obviously, it's a first-of-the-kind event for these guys here in Saudi Arabia, but I thought that crowd was really, really good throughout most of the show.
The crowd was very excited to see Triple H and John Cena. It was very, very evident.
Yeah. And of course, the Deleter of Worlds coming out with tag titles. That's probably one of the bigger stories to come out of this event.
But you already knew that. But with the bar going to SmackDown,
yeah.
The result of that match was never in doubt.
No.
As soon as they moved the bar. So I mean that's another thing that they gave away.
You said move the bar.
Yeah, by moving the bar, they gave away the only match that could have been labeled as unpredictable going in.
Yeah.
And just WWE sometimes I feel like they just can't get out of their own way. And I definitely feel like the Greatest Royal Rumble was a perfect example of that. If they wouldn't have hyped it so much, I think people would have enjoyed it a lot more for what it was than expecting something that it was never going to be to begin with.
So
it was a fun show in a bubble that meant absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things within the WWE storylines.
Except for Titus Worldwide.
Titus World Slide.
Oh my God, that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, just good thing he didn't kill himself.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
If he wouldn't have gotten down and he'd have hit that
that wouldn't have been
metal bar barrier
that
helps hold that ring up, he could have freaking concussed himself or worse, could have freaking killed himself.
Yeah, that would.
So it was really 6 to 8 inches from hilarity to tragedy.
Yeah.
So luckily he was able to get down and slide. That could have been a disaster. Lucky that happened the way that it did, because it looks like he's going to get a funny ha-ha push over it. I guess we'll see how long it lasts.
We got some new merch out of it too.
Yeah, we'll see how the shirt sells.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think based on the shirt sales, we'll determine how long this push is going to go for.
Did this cage match go as planned with Lesnar feet on the cage? Reigns should have won, but they called it the other way. Is this how they planned it?
I refuse to believe that was the planned finish. I believe the finish was planned. The Roman was going to spear Brock out of the cage, but there's no way that I'm going to believe that Brock's feet were not meant to hit the floor first.
I got you.
And they just went with They just went with the call that they knew was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
When in reality, the referees are supposed to call it how they see it. And they're supposed to call shit like that on the fly. And honestly, like, the Universal Championship should have been rewarded to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, they used the frantic part of the frantic moment for the ref to call it bad, and as a way of covering their ass, basically. Fuck, how about Daniel Bryan lasting
the Iron Man
76 fucking minutes, breaking Rey Mysterio's record by 14 minutes. That was number one in a 50-man Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan enters in at number one and got down to the final three. Insane.
I think the most impressive thing is they were able to take a 50-man Royal Rumble from a 30-man Royal Rumble and only make it about 15 minutes longer than a regular 30-man Rumble.
Yeah.
So props to WWE for pulling that off.
Yeah, exactly. It went an hour 17.
Because I know they said the intervals were 90 seconds.
No, they weren't.
It was more like 75.
Yeah, there was no way those were 90 seconds at times.
Yeah, it was definitely more. It was definitely more like 75.
Braun Strowman breaks Roman Reigns' record of eliminations in a single Rumble. You can't really put an asterisk next to that one because Strowman entered at 41, and he still eliminated 13 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put an asterisk, sorta, in the Daniel Bryan one because it's going to be a longer match. But I mean, there's no real. I mean, it is what it is.
Did you notice they were calling it the inaugural Greatest Royal Rumble?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is part of a 10-year partnership with Saudi Arabia.
I was gonna say, like, do you think the plans to go back and do this again next year?
Yeah, I mean, why else would they award a title belt? In a championship trophy.
Kind of disappointed Braun didn't come out with the title on Monday.
I know. He came out with the trophy, but
they sat at a ringside.
True. I thought it was funny when the dignitary from Saudi Arabia tried to hand the trophy. Oh fuck! This is heavy. Vince like, yeah, just hand him the belt, pal. Yeah.
I guarantee you Vince didn't call it a belt.
Well, yeah, true. That's right. That's one of those naughty words, kids. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed the event. Overall, I'm glad it was on the network.
Oh, no, I'm glad it was on the network, too. Like I said, the show was fun, but they hyped it up to be something more than what it really was. And I think that was their main mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you overhype your own expectations, and I definitely feel like that's what they did.
Yeah, because I was seeing people.
You hurt yourself by doing that.
I was seeing people thinking, "Oh, this is going to be greater than WrestleMania." You know.
Well, look. Let's be realistic. The card, on paper, had the potential of being better than WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So I mean, in the way they were hyping it, you certainly felt like, hell, they're going to have 60,000 people at this venue. You know, and they're hyping it. I mean, hell, dude, like, not only was this on the WWE Network, this was on standard pay-per-view.
Yep.
Like, you could go on your cable box and order this thing like you could WrestleMania, Backlash, or anything else. So, I mean, like, they were really, like, playing this up like this was going to be, you know, big-time deal, and it really wasn't. You know, to be perfectly honest, I'd have been more excited if they would have just aired Starrcade last year.
Oh, I would have loved if they had done that.
You know, and I would have known when I was getting there. I know it's a house show.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would have had fun, you know, watching that event on the network, but I would have known that, like, nothing, you know, of substance is really going to happen here. But they really hyped this event as if, like, titles were going to change and then things were going to shift and change the course of the WWE, and it didn't happen.
No.
And I really feel like they got to be careful with that kind of stuff going forward, because you overhype the fan, and the fan expects too much, and then they're disappointed. And, you know, that's just, you know, typical WWE. You know, deliver on your expectations. You know, look at Marvel Studios, for example. I definitely feel they lived up to the expectations with Avengers Infinity War. And, I haven't talked to anybody who was like, man, I was disappointed by that movie. Nobody would... The hype for that fucker was huge. They broke, every movie record imaginable. And I haven't talked to anybody who left that movie, disappointed. Everybody just wants Avengers 4. We want to all fast forward a year in time. If only WWE could get their fans talking and get people excited like Marvel does with their movies, we'd all be in a much better place.
Well, once Vince steps aside.
Yeah.
So Michael Cole called Titus O'Neil's trip the greatest moment ever in Royal Rumble history. I don't know about that, but WWE did release a video with alternate camera angles of Titus O'Neil tripping. And
of course they did.
And, of course, as we mentioned, you can buy the Rumble, Stumble, or Slide, Do It Worldwide Titus O'Neil Royal Rumble blooper t-shirt. Yes, so definitely they are capitalizing on that moment from the Royal Rumble. Major League Wrestling has got a little television deal now, and a voice... Tony Schiavone, of course, you remember him from the NWA Jim Crockett WCW days. Tony Schiavone has signed a multi-year deal to continue to be the broadcaster for Major League Wrestling. So that'll be...
Now I want to actually try to tune into this to see if he insists that one of their nights is the greatest night in the history of our sport.
Yeah. Well, have you watched any of MLW yet?
No, I haven't, but I'm thinking of grabbing my remote right now and seeing if I can set a DVR for it. Because I was told I get the channel on Fios, but I haven't even... my April was such a mess. I didn't even give a damn enough to go looking for it.
It's at BN Sports, is that right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I feel like I could just type in MLW in a search, and if find it, it'll come up. But
I'll have to see if Spectrum's got that. I don't know if they do or not. One of our longest running segments on Lost in the Midcard this week in Leaving Impact Wrestling. It was announced today, or not today, but last week, that Braxton Sutter has left Impact Wrestling.
Left his wife behind.
Left his wife. Yeah, well, he turned heel on her anyways, so he was just getting in the way. My time in Impact Wrestling is up, and I would like to extend a huge thank you to them. They gave me my first official job as a wrestler at 35 years old and hired my wife at the same time. I'll never forget that. It was a great chapter in my life. Now on to the next one. He got killed by Moose last week.
Yeah, and didn't Tires quit again?
He did, yeah. Impact ratings this week took a dive, down 65,000 to 308,000, but still 308,000 is a lot better than it was at the end of last summer, so the ratings are still higher overall, but they were even much higher the couple weeks before, so...
well, they were up against the NFL draft, too.
Yeah, good point. That's what I was watching, so... And I love the linebacker the Bears got, so I'm happy. And I like the wide receiver out of Memphis, so I'm pretty happy with what they got in the draft. Just as long as that wide receiver out of Memphis doesn't turn into another Kevin White.
Oh my!
That was a bust. Raw drops down to 3.06. Not much of a drop from the week before, but some encouraging news. Hour 3 saw an increase from last week, so people wanted to see Balor and Rollins, and boy, they delivered on Monday night. So Raw just barely treading above the 3 million line, but third hour got 2.878, so not too terrible. They gained about 60,000 viewers from the week before. There. SmackDown also drops. It's that time of the year, kids. They dropped down to 2.43 million, lost about 110,000 from
the casual WrestleMania viewer is gone.
Yep.
We're back to the the wrestling fans that are around all year long.
Yep.
And it happens every year.
It does.
For anybody who's interested in searching for MLW on their cable box, it is listed under Major League Wrestling Fusion. According on my box, it airs Friday nights at 8 o'clock. It's a 1-hour show, and I've set it up to DVR, so we'll see how good or bad this show is going forward.
Yeah, maybe I'll search for
I will check it out. Seems like it's airing the same time as New Japan airs on Access, so probably not the best time slot, but you take what you can get.
Yeah, I'll do a search for like Fusion. Maybe that'll. I'm sure Major League will pull up a lot of baseball. So
yeah, I typed in MLW and nothing came up, so I started typing in by Major, and I found it that way.
The Fighting with My Family movie about Paige's family, also starring and being produced by The Rock, no longer is going to come out this fall. It will be pushed back to March 1st of next year. A packed weekend in September, including the new Predator film, was the reason for the move, and so we had to.
They'll get that WrestleMania synergy in March too. It's really not that bad of a call.
No, but God, I was getting tired of those promos during WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, well, luckily we won't have to see it for a while. And honestly, it should be released closer to the end of March. Like, I don't know if it has a set date yet, but they should. If it's been pushed to March, it should be late March, so they can kind of feed it into the the WrestleMania synergy next year. I think that would be the right call for all involved.
And for people that like to bitch, maybe get yourself an education first. A lot of people were complaining that Finn Balor didn't wear his rainbow gear to the Greatest Royal Rumble. A lot of people were bitching that there were no women on the Greatest Royal Rumble, and all I got to say is get an education. Maybe you'll learn why. That's all I got to say about that. Balor did.
You can't fix stupid, and I'm not even going to dignify them with a response.
Yeah, Balor did reply on Twitter. Says it was a statement for WrestleMania weekend, and my support continues despite any color choice change or laundry schedule. #dirty pants. Balor.
Yeah, then he wore the shirt on Monday to shut everybody up.
He did, yeah. Shut up, you dumb boy.
I definitely felt like that's why he wore the shirt Monday.
Yeah.
I as soon as he came out with that, I'm like, well, that ought to shut people up.
Yeah. Exactly. That's got to be it, just to shut all those fuckers up. Hornswoggle returned to the company. He did a little interview there. I don't know if it's full time or not, though.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so. But it's pretty cool to see the little guy. Damn, he had a pretty cool little move there on Kofi, I think it was.
He was never eliminated.
Yeah, well, neither was Seth Rollins pointed that out too, I think, on Twitter. Wasn't there somebody else that wasn't eliminated either?
No, I think it was just Hornswoggle. He never went over the top rope. So we need to get Braun versus Hornswoggle for the Greatest Royal Rumble Championship. Honestly, I'd rather have that at Backlash than the same damn tag team match I've seen like 3 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, I don't get why they added that to the card. I mean, I know why. It's to put them on the card, but still, yeah, ridiculous.
Honestly, I'd rather would have had singles matches. Like, I'd rather would have had, like, Braun versus Sammy and KO versus Lashley, or vice versa. I much rather would have had them in singles matches than to see that tag match again. Like, I saw it 2 weeks ago. I saw them in a 6-man tag this week. Do I really need to see this tag team match again on Sunday? Nope. The answer is no.
Jake the Snake Roberts, has been announced that he is dropping charges against Harry Smith following the WrestleCon incident, for those that don't know.
Well, he said that, but New Orleans says he still hasn't dropped the charges yet. So.
Oh, hold on, playa.
According to the New Orleans Police Department, Mr. Smith is still wanted by the New Orleans Police Department. So Jake better be good on his word and decide to do what he said.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Harry Smith took exception to what Jake said about his father in a podcast recently, and They got into an altercation at WrestleCon over WrestleMania weekend, which ended up spilling Smith.
Apparently the podcast wasn't even recent because, from my understanding, it was Roddy Piper's podcast.
Oh shit! Well,
which would have had to have placed this years ago.
Yeah, he's been
before Piper died.
That's been
and
really,
years. You really holding the grudge this long, dude?
Yeah.
Get over it. People say shit on podcasts all the time.
Well, just listen to this one.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So Harry Smith ended up throwing hot coffee in Jake's face, basically.
He's
was
a
the deal.
mute.
It has been announced that the WWE has officially signed Martin Stone, who's known as Danny Burch. He is now full-time with the WWE, and if you watched NXT...
Yeah, funny enough, I never knew he wasn't signed full-time. So, because they've used him on television like a full-time guy.
Basically.
So, I had no clue that he wasn't signed up until this point. Because, honestly, I'm not putting... Me, personally, if I'm running NXT, no offense to Hunter, I'm not putting anybody on my television show as much as Danny Burch if he's not signed, full-time with my company. Because they used him as much as, dare I say, Blue Pants, or maybe even more, and she wasn't signed with the company, and they saw what happened there. So, yeah, I just, if you're going to be using someone at that length on your television, lock him into a damn deal. It ain't that hard. I doubt he requires such a big, gigantic paycheck. No offense to Danny Burch, but... I don't think he's breaking your bank.
No, probably not. The Big Red Mayor is closer to reality.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe.
It's closer to reality. Word is out of Knox County's election commission, Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane, won the vote by a slim 17 votes. There are still some provisionals to sort through, which include, of course, ballots that people didn't have an ID for. So the majority of those provisionals are probably going to be tossed out. So it's very likely that this is going to stand. And I read...
Talk about every vote mattering for a change. 17 votes.
Shit. Word is reading up on this today. Word is that Kane it should not be this close come on election day in August. I think August 2nd.
And personally, I think it's great. If I never have to see Kane in a WWE ring again, go get that mayorship, buddy. Go get it done. Get it done.
He was backstage at Raw this week.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Really?
The night before your primary, you're backstage at Raw in Montreal. I don't believe that.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't. To me, that makes absolutely no sense. You should be down there in Tennessee, ready for your campaign for Knox County. To me, that makes absolutely zero sense. That he would be, that he would have been a backstage at Raw Monday night. I don't buy that at all.
Jason Jordan's been out of action since earlier this year due to a nerve issue in his neck.
And no one has missed him.
You haven't?
Not even the slightest.
Mike Johnson, PW Insider, has learned that he may be on the road with the company as early as next week. Minimally invasive operation to decompress the nerve. So it looks like he is on his way back, and then hopefully he can just get buried to Chad Gable.
I know they said they brought Gable over there to be a single star, but I would prefer them just to put American Alpha back together.
Really?
I would, because Jordan was tolerable in that team. Because I hate the character they've given him since he came to Raw, and I would much prefer those two guys to be put back together. The tag team division on Raw suffered a major blow in the shakeup, and I think the addition of American Alpha on Raw would be very good for that division as a whole.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to do it. But, you never know. Like, Gable went from getting a big win over Jinder the week before to not even being on TV this week.
Yeah.
And with Jordan being imminent to return, maybe they are just going to end up putting them back together. Who knows?
Maybe
only time will tell.
Maybe Angle forces them together. I don't know.
Well, Angle said he didn't bring
I know.
that storyline wouldn't make any sense.
Well, hello, Vince. Hello. What makes sense with Vince?
Why you got to bring up the obvious?
I know. And you know what? I don't really want Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler in the tag division. I want them as Shawn and Diesel singles.
I really hope these guys are only together until Dolph's contract's up this summer and Drew turns on his ass and sends him out on a stretcher with his last name with the company.
Do you think Ziggler's leaving the company?
Does he really have a reason to stay?
I thought he signed a new deal.
No, that was false. He never signed a new deal.
Okay.
His contract's up this summer.
What do you think of the pairing so far? I dig it.
Pairing's fine, but this is more about Drew trying to pull Dolph Ziggler out of the muck that WWE's buried him in than Dolph doing anything for Drew.
Yeah, because most of the great parts of this so far have been Drew's promo. But I do love the zigzag Claymore, though. That's pretty badass. But Drew cut a hell of a promo a couple weeks ago on Raw. So Chris Jericho has stated publicly that he's done working with New Japan Pro Wrestling. We all know better.
Which means he's not.
And it appears that he is looking to be a surprise return to the company very soon. Mike Johnson of PW Insiders confirmed that Jericho is scheduled to appear at this week's Dontaku event in Japan to shoot an angle, leading a return to his company in Osaka for Dominion next month. And a lot of people think it's going to be continuing the feud with IWGP Intercontinental Champion Tetsuya Naito, who he attacked at New Year's Dash the day after Wrestle Kingdom 12. So, we all knew better, didn't we, Matt?
Look, anytime Jericho goes on record and says that he's not doing something anymore, you should just accept the fact that he is.
Just go the other way.
It's always the other way. The problem is Jericho thinks he's working the internet with the way that he handles himself, but I've gotten to the point of taking whatever Jericho says and just reverting it to the opposite. Mm-hmm. Because he works so much that everything he says is basically the opposite of the truth. So it doesn't even surprise me anymore. As soon as I heard that interview from a couple weeks ago, he was like, "Oh yeah, things didn't work out. I'm not doing New Japan anymore." I'm like, "Oh, so he'll be back with New Japan in a month or two." Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. That's just the way Jericho is, and I get wanting to surprise people and keep that element alive in professional wrestling, but sometimes when you just do it too much and you overkill yourself, you start to lose credibility in your words, and I feel like Jericho's word has lost credibility with me over the last couple of years.
NXT this week, we kick it off with the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole saying he made Oney Lorcan famous because he's the answer to the trivia question of who did Adam Cole beat in his first North American title defense. Speaking of which, how I didn't get to talk to you about this, though, but how fucking great was that ladder match with Adam Cole winning it, huh?
Oh, it was awesome, man.
Everybody looked like a star, and everybody that did not know who Ricochet was learned real quick, didn't they?
Look, if you didn't know who EC3 or Ricochet was, you knew who they were by the time the match was done.
Exactly. I think it's cool that Bobby Fish is still front and center in the camera with those guys,
which is very surprising to me.
Even though he tore his knee, I think the way NXT is set up, it kind of helps where you only film once a month, and
true.
I think that helps a lot, but I still think it's because he's obviously not going to go on the road. But I think it's still cool that he's front and center with those guys, and I think it's good that he's doing that too. What did you think of the heel turn with Roddy? I called it first off, but I called it because I thought it made sense to me, and I loved it. What do you think with Roddy joining?
It needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't have...
No pun intended.
No, God, no pun intended. With the lack of fish, if they wanted to do the thing where the Undisputed Era were both the tag team and North American champion, they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Cole was not going to hold 2 championships. So they're really, besides debuting Donovan Dijak into this position, they didn't really have any other choice but to slot Roddy in here. And if it gives Roddy a maintained solid push going forward, it's not a bad thing at all. So
he's already got one of them custom warm-up jackets of Undisputed Era. Match 1 was Kairi Sane against Shazza McKenzie, and apparently they decided to stick Alexa Bliss's old gimmick on her. I don't know.
I didn't think it was that bad.
You're calling the Alexa's first gimmick bad, huh?
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was. Kairi Sane winning a quick match with the Insane Elbow. Lacey Evans came out acting like she was going to have some class and apologized, but we all knew better, and she punched Sane in the throat. Kathy Kelly interviewed Candice LeRae about Johnny's condition. Of course, we know after last week, Tommaso Ciampa's attack sent Johnny Gargano out on a stretcher out via the ambulance. So a broken up Candice LeRae talks about the ups and downs that they have had so far. And, of course, she has a match later on against Bianca Belair. We all know how that's going to go because of the way that Candice LeRae's mind is not in the game right now. They showed a video package for Lars Sullivan coming into our second match of the evening, Street Profits against TM61. A fairly short match here. The big thing to take away from here is, TM61's a bunch of cheaters, huh?
Well, they need something to get these guys over.
Yeah.
No offense, they've kind of been treading water for a while since returning, so you kind of had to do something.
They show a tail of the tape for Heavy Machinery and War Raiders, which is a match next week. That's a lot of humanity that's going to be in the ring, huh?
Yeah, kind of wish Heavy Machinery didn't exist, though, because I wish they were called War Machine. Because if it wasn't for Heavy Machinery, they would be called War Machine. They just don't want to confuse the two teams.
I don't know if that's the thing.
That's definitely the reason. I've already confirmed that with my people.
Oh, okay.
The reason why they're not called War Machine is because of Heavy Machinery. They don't want to confuse the audience.
I thought War Machine was already A, trademarked, and B, associated with an MMA fighter that doesn't do nice things. So
no, it has not. It has nothing to do with that.
So TM61 gets the win via foot on the ropes cheating. Cassius Ohno, of course, we saw him last week as Gargano was getting loaded up and basically cutting a promo about how he's been Johnny's boy for a while and has known Tommaso for a long time. It's going to set up a match between those two next week. The Realist, Kona Reeves, debuting a new gimmick, coming out against a dude that looked like Tyson Kidd's son. I guess we know what Matt thinks about Kona Reeves. I
think Bianca Belair should come out whipping with her tail for stealing her gimmick.
Oh, the est. I've liked Kona Reeves ever since he's debuted. I thought there could be something there. We'll see where this gimmick goes. It screams like Takahashi to me.
I feel like the vignettes were better than his performance in the ring tonight.
Yeah, he's gonna have.
I was not impressed by what I saw.
Yeah, we're basically gonna have to. The gimmick's gonna have still need some fleshing out. So we'll see what happens in time. Candice LeRae took on Bianca Belair, and of course, Candice is not in the game, so we all figured that was going to be an L for her as Bianca Belair got the win. Dakota Kai interviewed by the media, talking about the women's evolution and Ember Moon going to Raw, and Matt, I still think in the end, I think Dakota Kai is going to side with Shayna Baszler and turn heel.
Who cares?
You don't care, do you?
I really don't. I'm so over Dakota Kai. Like, I feel like they've absolutely ruined her character within the course of the last month, and I don't think I could care any less for her than I do right now. Like, it's like her character right now is pathetic, like absolutely positively pathetic. Well, like, you're a professional wrestler. Stop being a little bitch.
That's what the gimmick is. Pathetic.
I hate it. I hate it.
She is a pathetic, being pathetic.
I can't stand it.
Main event was fucking awesome. Roderick Strong, Pete Dunne.
Easily the best thing on the show.
Yeah, it didn't take much.
Next week seems a whole lot more stacked.
Oh, it is very stacked.
Yeah.
War Machine, War Raiders and Heavy Machinery, Ono and Ciampa, and there's one more that was announced that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the other one at the moment. But yeah, there were three good matches announced for next week. I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to be a lot better than what we're seeing tonight.
Yeah, and
not every edition of NXT can be a home run.
No.
And like, this was maybe like a ground double.
Yeah, it hit the warning track and bounced over the fence. EC3 Raul Mendoza.
There we go. Yeah, EC3's like Full Sail in-ring debut. Yep.
Speaking of debuts at Full Sail, I fucking love Ricochet's entrance, man. It's so badass.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Pete Dunne hit the better end. Looked like it was the end for Roddy, but Cole and O'Reilly attack causing the DQ, and then that led to Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch making the save for Pete Dunne, setting up kind of a UK versus Undisputed Era, except, of course, Oney's from Boston.
Oney rules!
Yeah, so that'll be fun next week there.
Do you think they're gonna extend Oney and Burch in the Undisputed Era all the way out to TakeOver, or do you think this feud's gonna be done before we get there?
Well, TakeOver's it's a month away.
Yeah, it's Money in the Bank weekend.
Yeah,
it's like mid-June, right? Like a month and a half.
About 5 or 6 weeks, yeah. I don't know.
I kind of feel like it's gonna run its course before then. I feel like there's gonna be somebody else in that spot. I don't know who, but I feel like somebody else is gonna be in that position come when they roll into Chicago for Money in the Bank weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's one that's gonna stretch out that far.
Yeah, they could prove us wrong. Guess we'll find out.
I don't know who steps in, though. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing you have to consider. You know, what their...
Tag team division needs to kind of get rebuilt.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's too early for the War Raiders to step into that spot.
Yeah, and they're kind of being more heels than that, so I don't know if they would put them with the Undisputed Era just yet. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, they might end up just going with Oney and Burch. I mean, it's not like the fans don't like them, you know. It's just not. It's not a match that. No offense to Oney and Burch, I like them as a tag team.
Me too, but yeah, they haven't been winning.
This isn't a match that screams TakeOver.
No, and plus the fact these guys lost almost all the time.
Honestly, I'd rather it be done in a makeshift tag team partner than it to be Oney and Burch.
I'd like to see Dunne and Bate.
That would be interesting. I'd be okay with that. I think that would be cool. That they tore down Chicago last time they were there.
Yeah, exactly. That was the match of the year.
That would be cool. They put aside their differences and team up against the Undisputed Era. I think that would be really cool. I'd be okay with that.
There you go, Triple H. You can hand the keys to me when you take over for Vince. Just hand them over to me. I'll make sure that it's a well-oiled machine. Live from Montreal, Quebec, episode 1301 of Monday Night Raw. And the show starts with a recap of the greatest Royal Rumble. And damn, Montreal was pretty hot these 2 days, weren't they?
I think they were hotter at Raw than they were at SmackDown, but they were definitely a good crowd both nights.
Yes, they were. Roman Reigns comes out to kick off the night. It says he ain't going to make any excuses. And he talks about the tweet that Chad Patton sent out. And he says that he's the real Universal Champion, even though the fans started chanting, Roman sucks, which he doesn't.
I'd have made that bitch-ass referee come out and reverse the decision.
Hell yeah. You know,
see, this is what I hate about, when I even mentioned this when it happened. I don't remember when it happened, but it happened within the last year, I feel like. When WWE all of a sudden instituted instant replay into the matchmaking winner decision. Do you remember that? And I said that set a dangerous precedent going forward if you didn't go back and use that when you've already used it before.
Yeah, I remember it, yeah.
And like that weekend was a perfect example of you've used instant replay before, why are you not using it now? And you're trying to tell me you couldn't use it after the fact and reverse your decision? Like, honestly, if I'm WWE, I know a lot of fans would have hated this, and I'm sure Brock would have been furious, but I don't really give a flying fuck. Brock can sit at home and collect his fucking fat-ass paycheck. I would have come out at the beginning of Raw and said, I'd have come out with, Vince and the ref, and I'd have been like, we went to the replay after the show, we made a mistake, and we'd like Roman Reigns to come out right now. We're going to reward him the Universal Championship.
Yeah.
And that's how I would have opened the show. And I would have brought out, people out, to try to challenge Roman for the title, just like they did that night, only there was no, there was no involvement of the title. In not doing that and just, letting it go like it meant nothing, to me, you're just insulting the fans' intelligence. Because whether you like Roman Reigns or not, it was very obvious by anybody with two eyeballs that Roman Reigns won that match. And you fucked up. And you should have done right by the fuck up, and you didn't. And, y'all stupid.
Well, like I told Daryl on the show last week, I go, if somehow Lesnar comes out here as the champion, it's clear. Vince wants him to break Punk's 434.
Yeah, and he's close to that already, right?
Yeah, a little over a month.
I'm hearing rumors that he's going to be defending the Universal title in a triple threat match at Money in the Bank. I don't know against who, but my money right now would be Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman.
Yeah, that's a good.
Just the way that they've been pairing them up lately. Mm-hmm. I've definitely heard triple threat for Brock at Money in the Bank, and by Money in the Bank, he's going to pass Punk's record.
Yeah.
So
he's hovering at about 390 right now. So 44 days from now, I guess Money in the Bank might be there. Let's take a look here. Money in the Bank 2018 is June 17th. That is basically.
Does that make it?
Let's take a look here.
How many days is Brock at right now?
Well, Wikipedia is not always up to date, so I'm going to see. WrestleMania 33 was April 2nd, 2017. So,
are you asking Google? Are you asking Google how many days it's been since
the
day of WrestleMania?
There's a site where you can check how many days between two dates. So, let's see. So Money in the Bank is on June 17th, 2018. So
yeah, might as well use that date.
April. Okay, so Going to the site here. Bear with me here. April 2nd, 2017. June 17th, 2018. 4:41.
There it is.
Breaks
by
it by
6 days.
Yep, by a week actually. Is it 4:34?
I thought it was 4:35.
No, 4:34. So it breaks it by a week.
Oh, still.
So yeah, that pretty much
because New Day lost those tag titles very quickly after
Demolition.
After surpassing Demolition.
Yeah.
I would totally be okay with him dropping the title of Money in the Bank, and we don't have to see his stupid ass again for a while.
I know Lashley said in an interview recently that he's like, they would be crazy to not put him and Lesnar in the same match, so that makes complete sense. And it makes complete sense that your next Universal Champion after Lesnar is Braun Strowman. I mean, that makes complete sense.
I just wish they were using Lashley better. They really haven't really done, besides like pairing him up with other main event stars to try to tell the audience that he's a main event talent, they really haven't done a good job of getting him over and making people understand why this isn't the same Bobby Lashley from 10 years ago.
No, they're doing a terrible job. They're doing a terrible job with that. I mean, he got no reaction this week. Where Impact knew how to use him. I mean, hello, if they know how to use him. So Reigns is interrupted by Samoa Joe doing a little cell phone promo, talking shit to him. Of course, they face each other at Backlash. Then Jinder Mahal comes out and says he wants a piece of Reigns. Sami Zayn comes out to a gigantic pop since we're 15 minutes away from his hometown. Kevin Owens came out to an even bigger pop, possibly. He grew up 30 minutes away from Montreal. So the crowd loved that Owens and Zayn were in on the opening segment. They all wanted a piece of Roman Reigns. Then they all ganged up on Roman Reigns before Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman made the save.
I hated that Braun Strowman made the save for Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Absolutely hated it.
Wow. What's funny is, like, when they were in South Africa, WWE.com posted a photo of Reigns and Strowman posing at the ramp with the South African flag. So, yeah. WWE wants to make you forget about that feud.
Which is one of the greatest, which is the main feud that got Braun over to the point that he is now.
Yeah, it was
and now all of a sudden we're just, nope, bosom buddies, Roman and Braun, BFFs, like, what the fuck?
On the next edition of Camp WWE.
Oh, boy.
Of course, Sami Zayn, they said he had vertigo, playing off the fact that he couldn't really go to Saudi Arabia because he's of Syrian descent, and they don't like each other, so they did.
Yeah, they were smart not to send him over there.
Yeah, yep. And I think it was smart to not bring it up and just throw up a kayfabe injury. Teddy Long shows up in the six-man tag match is a thing between those six gentlemen. Elias in the ring and does a little song and dance before Bobby Roode comes out and makes his glorious entrance. Of course, Bobby Roode from Canada as well, Toronto. Elias and Bobby Roode went about 12 minutes and ended due to referee stoppage with throat injury that Elias had delivered to Bobby Roode. What were your thoughts on this match between these two guys?
Why did they move Roode to Raw?
I don't know. I was hoping the answer was to turn heel and feud with Seth Rollins for the IC belt.
They have done Bobby Roode zero favors since the initial night of the shakeup. I mean, you can say how over Elias is all you want, but the dude loses all the time.
Yeah.
And they've really put him over strong against Roode 2 weeks in a row. Like, they've really made, like, the people who don't watch SmackDown but only watch Raw, or, and clearly those same people don't watch NXT, Like, they've really done a piss poor job of making Rude look like a credible, threat on the Red brand since he's been over there. It's I feel really bad for him. Like, I really, really do.
Those viewers that only watch Raw are like, oh yeah, okay, that's what Vince does to Impact Wrestling talent. Okay. Except AJ Styles is kind of doing okay for himself.
At this point, I would prefer them to turn him heel and go from Bobby Roode to Robert Roode, and and just try to get some revitalization of his career. People are like, oh, you would need a theme change. He doesn't need a fucking theme change. Like, that Glorious theme rode him his entire heel run in NXT. Like, there's zero reason to change his theme. So you don't need to change his damn theme to turn him heel.
Yeah, I mean, Nakamura's, it kind of made sense to kind of change his up a little bit, but yeah, Rude was already a heel with that, so you didn't really need to. AOP kills a couple of jobbers.
And the crowd went mild.
Seth Rollins comes out, and Montreal loving them some Seth Rollins, so Rollins was drinking it in, man. And how about him cutting a little shoot on Brock Lesnar, huh?
Good.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to that the crowd will get behind.
Rollins said he did a lot of thanking during his travels because, I mean, those guys traveled a lot the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping he was going to drop the title that night so they could start pushing Rollins in the direction of challenging Brock.
Yeah.
Because I would have loved if you're not ready to put Lashley in that spot, you could have done Rollins, Braun, and Brock at Money in the Bank and let Rollins win the title there. Like, I would not have any issue with Monday Night Rollins beating Brock for the Universal Championship.
Then you could continue the feud with Balor because that's still going on, and
you wouldn't need to at first because Balor would be the Intercontinental Champion.
True.
So, but yeah, I feel like Rollins is ready for the main title.
Oh,
like, he's totally back in the swing of things. He's like, that match with him and Balor on Monday was incredible.
It was.
And there were definite points during that match. Like, I thought we were getting a title change. I really did. Like, they did that good of a job, and the build up to the match was so solid. Like, there were points I truly believed the title was changing hands.
I mean, when Rollins,
it's a great credit to both of those guys.
I mean, when Rollins did that superplex, you're up. Here comes the Falcon Arrow. No, fucking Balor puts the Falcon Arrow on Rollins. I thought that was the sweetest moment of the match, man. That was badass. Rollins says he did a lot of thinking during his travels and does not want to be a champion like Brock Lesnar. He thinks
nobody should want to be a champion like Brock Lesnar.
Well, no, everybody should. Easiest paycheck in the world. Rollins said he wants to be a fighting champion. Out comes Finn Balor with his rainbow shirt on, so shut up, you uneducated haters. Balor reminded Rollins just how close he was to the Intercontinental title. That was a pretty sweet ending at the Greatest Royal Rumble, wasn't it?
It was probably the best finish of the show.
With Balor almost there and Rollins slingshotting his way to the top of the ladder to grab the belt. That was pretty cool. But Rollins did accept Balor's challenge, but then the Miztourage comes out. I mean, what are you doing with these guys? I mean, they're still coming out to Miz's music.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. They are really they are doing those two guys no favors whatsoever by sticking them with a gimmick of a guy who's not even on the brand. It's not good for them.
No, unless somehow Miz wins the match on Sunday, comes back to Raw, and they just make us wait for the Daniel Bryan thing. Though it's a co-branded pay-per-view now going forward, you could still have a Miz and Bryan feud. But I don't know.
There's no way Rollins is losing that title on Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. But they haven't come up with anything yet. Though Axel and Bo came out to their old music at the Greatest Royal Rumble, so.
Yeah, and I thought that was a step in the right direction for them. And then we had, and then we had them come out to the Midcard music on Monday, and I just groaned.
Yeah. They were wearing shirts with them two and Balor and Rollins' heads on their shirts. That was the funniest looking pieced together shirt ever. They suggested that they could be the Four Horsemen of the WWE, and Rollins says, that's a hard no. And Balor and Rollins beat up the Midcard before Balor then attacks Rollins from behind with the elbow drop ahead of their main event match later on. Sasha Banks, Ruby Riott. Matt, I thought this was a pretty damn good match.
It was the match was very good.
Yeah. The Riott Squad could go away anytime soon, but Ruby Riott can stay.
No, Absolution is done, so it's only a matter of weeks until the Riott Squad breaks up. Bye-bye, Garbage Squad. Nobody's going to miss you.
Banks and Riott went about 13 minutes. And Riott pins Banks for the victory there after hitting the right kick while Banks was on the top rope. But yes, very good moment. And what do you think of these Moment of Bliss segments, Matt?
Terrible.
You don't like them?
I hate them. Absolute garbaggio.
I think they're funny. Titus O'Neil is interviewed by Renee backstage. They show a clip of the Titus World Slide about 8 times. I mean, seriously, they've replayed this thing like 3 trillion times since Friday. O'Neil laughs it off, saying it's exactly how he planned it. And he said not a lot of people get a chance to fall on their face in front of the world. And he says, what is important is you get back up. Baron Corbin shows up because he's a bully. And he makes fun of Titus O'Neil, saying that he doesn't know why they're wasting their time with him, and he left. Matt Hardy shows up with Bray Wyatt to do a little promo. I absolutely love this team, Matt. This team has done so well together. You could say they've been wonderful.
Yeah, they're fun.
You're not digging it yet?
Not sure. I'm digging it. I'm not sure I was like the biggest fan of that segment on Monday. It felt rather forced.
Oh yeah,
like I don't need to know that Bray Wyatt has some kind of new vessel in his body that occupied him once Abigail was gone. Why can't he just be Bray? Yeah. Why does he have to have a new vessel occupying him that Abigail is gone? To me, they're reaching a little too far, and like that segment, I kind of just went, eh.
The edited photos were kind of funny though.
No, they look, it was funny, but I feel like they might have overstretched their bounds with that segment. I hope they don't harp on the new character inside of Bray Wyatt going forward. I hope that's something that's just dropped, kind of like Bray Wyatt and drag.
But the team as a whole, I think they're working really well together.
Oh no, absolutely.
6-man tag with Sami, Kevin, and Jinder against Roman, Braun, and Bobby. This was a long-ass match, went about 23 minutes. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was
good.
It's always fun when Strowman does laps around the ring and cross-checks Kevin Owens on his way by. That seems to be the running
It definitely seems to be the running gag with WWE right now.
And I still laugh every time it happens. But a good match with those guys. The good guys get the win in the end. So you think it's all fun and games, nicey between Strowman and Lashley until something happens, huh?
Yeah, until they both come out at the same time and demand a title shot.
Yeah. Baron Corbin comes out with a microphone talking about how he's a fun hater and he doesn't like No Way Jose, he doesn't like Titus O'Neil. And speaking of No Way Jose, Matt, we haven't gotten to talk about him yet. I like No Way Jose, but seriously, you're putting the same gimmick that you had with Adam Rose, and this is going to do him zero favors.
I don't think it's the same gimmick at all. It
feels like it to me.
He did the damn conga line in NXT. This isn't anything new.
He brought people out of the crowd to do that. They're dressing up
no,
people
dude,
like fucking chickens.
No. Late in No Way Jose's run in NXT, they were doing this. Go back and watch the NXT takeover from August when Lars Sullivan took him out.
He was pulling people out of the crowd. He didn't have an entourage with him that was dressed up like chickens and whatever.
I disagree. This is definitely different than Adam Rose. I mean, this gimmick is a lot easier to understand than
Adam Rose was to understand. You needed a lot of drugs to understand Adam Rose's gimmick, but
yeah, I don't think this is nearly as bad as
I mean back in NXT he was just pulling people out of the crowd and doing it, you know. Here
at one point he's not now.
Yeah, well, yeah, now he's not.
He was like at the end he wasn't. This is how he was doing things at the end of his NXT run.
His NXT run was, at the end of it was pretty. He wasn't there much, so maybe that's why.
Oh, what a shock! Bruce Pritchard is all in. I'm so surprised. I'm so shocked, Starcast, that Bruce Pritchard is your first featured superstar. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you got something to say there, Matt?
Yeah, Starcast is a fucking joke. It is an absolute scam that should have been a weekend event to turn into a 4-day event that they're going to try to take all the, smaller podcasts like ours and try to milk us for every cent that we're worth in order to participate in this event that they claim that they wanted us to be a part of to begin with. Yeah, we want you to be a part of this, but it's going to cost you $600. So AK, you didn't really want us to begin with. You really just wanted to pad your pockets for your stupid Starcast event. And as far as I'm concerned, it is a scam. It is a waste of absolute time, and it is a big, gigantic black eye on All In Weekend that I wish the Bucks and Cody had never involved themselves with to begin with.
So what Matt's trying to say is we're not all in anymore.
Nope, I am absolutely all out. If for no other reason, Starcast has me all out. Like, if the show's streaming online, I'll check it out. But, like, my desire to fly to Chicago to go see the show was ruined by the con artists that are running Starcast 18. No interest. Goodbye.
Mickie James with Alexa Bliss took on Natalya with Ronda Rousey. Short match here. Not much to see here. Nia Jackson came out to stare down Alexa Bliss, and she took off running. And Jax poses in the ring with Rousey and Natalya to end the segment. Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler do a cell phone promo backstage.
I don't even know if they were backstage, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, at least there weren't any words on the screen. So
yeah, well, there could have been a visa issue with Drew. I know that's why he wasn't in Saudi Arabia. And they might have had issues getting him into Canada for the same issue. Mm-hmm. And they might have just said, let's just film a vignette, get you guys on TV this week, and we'll get you back on TV next week. I would not be surprised to find out that Drew wasn't even backstage at Raw on Monday.
And, of course, the great main event we've been talking about all throughout the show, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor. If you have not seen it yet, go out of your way to watch a great 15-minute match between these two gentlemen. It was amazing. At the end of the match, Balor went for the coup de grace, but Rollins got out of the way. Went for the stomp, but Balor avoided it. Rollins got a roll-up for a 2, hits a sling blade. Balor then ran into a super kick from Rollins, which was the setup to the stomp for the victory for Seth. Amazing main event, so make sure you go out of your way to watch that. SmackDown Live, also from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, as we are. Wow, we're gonna hit SmackDown 1000 this year, aren't we?
Maybe.
Episode 975 of SmackDown Live. They show a clip from the Greatest Royal Rumble when Braun Strowman launched Shane McMahon like a lawn dart through the announce table. And Paige, the new SmackDown general manager, saying Shane will not be there, but has made the announcement that for Backlash, it'll be AJ Styles Nakamura, no DQ for the WWE Championship. And get your thoughts here, Matt. What are your thoughts on having Paige as the replacement for Daniel Bryan as GM?
I think it worked out perfectly. They ran their course with Paige and managed an absolution. It wasn't doing Mandy or Sonya any favors. I think the GM role fits her perfectly fine. I don't mind it at all.
Miz TV kicks off SmackDown with Jeff Hardy, and Miz wearing quite the jacket there. He mentioned how Daniel Bryan is now banned from Miz TV going forward since he no-showed. Well, Big Cass attacked him. And he cuts a little promo in the direction of Seth Rollins on that B show called Monday Night Raw, and how he's going to tie the record for Intercontinental Championship reigns at 9, which is held by Chris Jericho. Jeff Hardy came out to a big ovation, and The Miz said he has a swerve for Jeff, and how he brings out Randy Orton, and of course Miz does what he tries to do on Miz TV and tries to be an instigator. Didn't quite work out with Randy and Jeff there. They kind of are on the same page. They're cool with each other. And Shelton Benjamin came out and interrupted them. And that leads to Teddy Long making another tag match play. Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy against Miz and Shelton Benjamin. And Orton hits the RKO on Benjamin, tags Hardy for the Swanton for the victory. And, gee, we didn't see that RKO coming out of nowhere, did we, Matt?
Oh, then like everybody saw that coming.
Yeah. Everybody saw that coming, and Randy Orton hitting Jeff with the RKO. Had to have a little heat going into that match. Speaking of superstar call-ups and that, how about the job that Billy Kay and Peyton Royce have done on the main roster so far?
I think they've been fantastic. I would even go as far as to say that they might have exceeded expectations so far. So
yeah, and they get in the SmackDown main event this week, so that ain't a bad thing. They mock Renee's accent because she's from Canada, but Renee's like that's a Minnesota accent, and yeah, they didn't quite understand that. And Carmella, she does some moonwalking. Sheamus and Cesaro walking backstage. They run into the New Day, and the New Day wonders, what happened? As, of course, the Bar had guaranteed that they were going to win the tag titles at Greatest Royal Rumble, but that didn't happen. And pretty funny that the New Day's got a pancake delivered by the name of Mr. Buttersworth, or whatever it was. Oh, boy. Rusev and Aiden English backstage, and Lana shows up in a Rusev Day shirt, making that Rusev Day shirt looking quite well. Looks like she's trying to break up old Rusev and Aiden there, huh, Matt?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a real big fan of that. Like, I have no problem with them adding Lana to the group and making it a trio.
They don't need to make her Yoko Ono, though.
Yeah, I feel like they could do a major damage to Aiden English going forward by booting him out of this group. So hopefully they don't hopefully they don't end up going in that direction and it's just a tease. Like, I see no reason why it can't be Rusev, Aiden, and Lana. So, we'll see what it is.
Big Cass is in the ring. And
nobody cared.
More Vince humor with the midget. I thought Cass's promo last week was pretty good, but then we just went back into Vince comedy here with a midget Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, this was a major downgrade from
last week. Yeah, I thought Cass cut a great promo last week.
His verbiage was fantastic. But the overall I didn't dig the overall content of the promo. Like the whole, I hate Daniel Bryan because I used to be him. Like, come on. Like, that, to me, that's just so stupid. I feel like he delivered the promo as well as you could possibly hope him to.
That was kind of what I meant by that. What I meant by that was he's...
Yeah, I didn't like the idea behind the promo of why he hates Daniel Bryan. I just found it to be really, really stupid.
Yeah, they're just basically playing it off on he was injured also, but Bryan's getting all the attention about coming back, and he's getting no attention. Yeah, easy heel booking for creative to go by. So, because AJ Styles,
it's a shoot that no one cares about Big Cass.
AJ Styles said you can't teach that. AJ Styles interview in the ring with Renee Young, and let's talk about this, Matt. I have thoroughly enjoyed Shinsuke Nakamura's heel turn. What about you?
So they had to do something with him. Like I knew going into WrestleMania, I'm like, if he doesn't win the title, then what? Like,
yeah.
What are they gonna do with him going forward? Because he's dead in the water if he doesn't win the title. The heel turn was really the only way to go. And honestly, he seems so much more comfortable on the main roster working as a heel than he ever did working as a face. So I did definitely think it was the best thing for him going forward.
Yeah, because it was not the 6-star match we were expecting at Mania. And
their match at Greatest Royal Rumble, despite the finish, was much better.
It was
than the WrestleMania match.
But the low blow gave me help that I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe if this stretches out to SummerSlam, maybe that's where we get the big 6-star match. I think this stretches out to SummerSlam, honestly, Matt. I think it's two guys that are familiar with each other. I think they can stretch that out all the way to August. I think. I think it's a possibility. So we'll see. If they, I just don't think it's something you could just stop at Money in the Bank or stop at, Backlash. I really hope that they carry it out to SummerSlam and give us a grand finale of that feud at SummerSlam. What do you think?
I don't know if it's going to go that long. We'll see.
Nakamura, he was leading up to WrestleMania. He was teasing AJ Styles with knee to face. Now it's arm to balls.
Yeah.
And once again, Samoa Joe comes out, and that distraction leads to Nakamura coming out and hitting AJ in the balls once again. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying Nakamura as a heel right now. He's doing a tremendous job as it.
I'm very torn on the match on Sunday.
Yeah,
because I was very much wanting to see Nakamura win the title and see this feud continue, but then they teased me getting AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
In WWE over the WWE Championship, and I'm just like, God, I really want that. I really, really want that. So I'm so torn on the match on Sunday because, depending on the outcome, will depend on how the SmackDown brand looks going forward with Joe. And I was just like, man, That's big time right there.
Becky Lynch is in the locker room feeling bad about costing Asuka her first loss on SmackDown, and Asuka says, "Shut up, get over it."
Yeah, pretty much, which I appreciated.
Xavier Woods and Sheamus, I thought this was a hell of a match and a good show. I mean, they've been showcasing Woods a lot more.
As they should.
Yep, and giving him the win over Sheamus was huge. I thought that goes a long way to helping Xavier Woods, and I thought it was a great match, and I was happy with the outcome. Paige in the office watching some television while Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville showed up, and they assumed, oh, hey, Paige is just going to give us championship matches, and Paige is like, no, I'm not. And Absolution is dead. And basically, that's how the WWE killed Absolution, huh, Matt?
Yeah, I have a feeling they're not going to be without a group for long.
You think they get a third?
I do.
Like a more established leader? Like, who could it be?
I will tell you before the show's over.
Okay. Cell phone promo from Zelina Vega and Andrade Cien Almas, as their debut is coming soon.
Who cares?
I do.
I don't.
Then
Obi loses every match like Jinder's losing every match on Raw.
I completely forgot that she plays AJ Lee in that Paige movie.
Yep.
I completely forgot about that until that news came out today about the release date being pushed back. And then the women get the main event, and they delivered a great main event match. 14 minutes long. Charlotte, Asuka, Becky against Iconics and Carmella.
Yep.
And great match, Matt. Great match, and putting the women in the main event here was cool. And seeing the Iconics in the main event was cool. Seeing the Iconics doing well in the main roster is cool. It all around, the women's division on SmackDown is pretty fucking great, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the women's. I feel like the women's roster from top to bottom on SmackDown is much better than Raw's right now. I really feel like Raw's is kind of like you've got Ronda, and then you have Sasha, and then you have everybody else. Yeah. And I really kind of feel like that's where the Raw division is right now. Yeah. Because that's how they treat them in order of importance. I know some people argue Bliss and Jax, but I really feel like both of them have been afterthoughts since WrestleMania. So maybe they'll be pushed forward, after Sunday. But I definitely feel like they've taken a back seat since WrestleMania, and the words of Bliss or whatever the fuck those stupid promos are certainly not helping matters.
And I kind of compare Peyton Royce and Billie Kay to kind of Alexa Bliss on NXT. Alexa didn't really win gold or anything in NXT, neither did Royce or Billie Kay, but when they got to the main roster, Alexa Bliss took the ball and fucking ran with it. I think the Iconics are doing the exact same thing right now.
Yeah.
All right. So that was SmackDown Live for the night. Decent shows, not really much to get you hyped up for Backlash, but then again, it's basically a card of rematches, except for Reigns and Joe. And,
the thing is, I enjoyed SmackDown, but no way did it feel like a go-home show for Backlash.
It didn't
if you would have told me that there was a pay-per-view on Sunday after watching SmackDown, I'd been like, really? There is? Because it really didn't feel like a show that was designed to get you excited about Sunday's show.
All right, let's run down the card. 8 matches are on the card. No pre-show announced, so maybe they add a pre-show.
Oh, you know they will before we get to Sunday, or they'll announce it Sunday afternoon. They always have a pre-show match.
Yeah, who's not on the card that needs to be on the card right now? They'll probably be on the pre-show.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Because now, as Matt and I discussed on Twitter this afternoon, this is a Matt said it perfectly, a lesser of two evils. It sucks. The co-branded pay-per-views are going to leave a lot of people off the card, but at the same time, it also beats the hell out of 3 pay-per-views in 6 weeks. So
agreed.
It's tough, but hey, you gotta. Here's the thing, Matt. Maybe this is the good news out of this. Maybe this ups people's games, and so that we get some surprise pushes because their game maybe they're because you got to up your game now if you want to get on that pay-per-view card. You got to up your game and perform. So
definitely, you would think the cards overall will be stronger going forward. I think there's a lot of going into Backlash, mainly because of the Greatest Royal Rumble last week. Everybody feels like they already got a big pay-per-view a week ago, and everybody's just like, there's another one coming, who cares? And I really feel like the Greatest Royal Rumble has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. Let's kick off the 8-match card. Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Does this start the dissension between Strowman and Lashley to allow Kevin and Sami to win?
You would think Kevin and Sami are owed a win here, but yeah, I just don't know.
I think I don't know.
I feel like the only way they win is if Lashley and Strowman, take issue with each other over something.
I think that's going to happen, and Lashley eats the pin, and KO and Sami win.
Yeah, well, Strowman ain't being pinned.
No. Yeah. Daniel Bryan against Big Cass.
Bryan's got to win this match. No one gives a flying fuck about Big Cass.
No, I think Daryl and I were talking about this last week. This is going to be the showcase to see if Big Cass can hang with the top talent and see what kind of if he puts on a good match here. So, clearly Daniel Bryan's going to win this one. Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe. This is tricky because Reigns shouldn't have lost the Universal title match, but I don't see Joe losing this match. I think Joe beats Reigns.
I think Reigns wins, but I think it's a mistake. I think the smartest thing they could do right now is they've scorched Roman Reigns over the past month by not letting him win at Mania and having the bullshit finish at the Greatest Royal Rumble. They fucked him, and they fucked him over hard. I think while I think he's going to win, I think the best case scenario would be that Samoa Joe wins and takes him out, and literally sends Roman Reigns out on a stretcher. And we don't see Roman Reigns again till closer to SummerSlam. They take him off TV for a while, out of sight, out of mind, and try to figure out a new direction for him when he comes back. And maybe they bring him back as a heel. I got hurt, you all cheered. None of you gave a damn about me. And you care about part-timers more than you care about me, and then they could bring him back. They could bring him back as a heel. I don't know, but I feel like I feel like Reigns is going to win. But in a perfect world, Joe should win and put Reigns on the proverbial shelf for a bit.
Yeah, I just feel like, but I guess Vince logic would say Reigns wins here. But yeah, I just have a feel. Something tells me Joe's going to win this one.
Hope you're right. I don't think you are.
SmackDown Women's Championship, Carmella, Charlotte Flair. I was thinking about this one, wondering if they put the title back on Charlotte here. I don't think they will. I'm going to go Carmella, but I would not be shocked if they switch the title back to Charlotte.
Logical booking would say that one-on-one Charlotte wins this title back easily, which is why I believe Carmella will retain with the help of her new teammates in Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Yeah, I think. Oh! Hello! I figured the Iconics would get involved in this match.
I think Mandy and Sonya join up with the champ, and they cost Charlotte this match, and the three of them form a new group going forward that are pretty much a thorn in Paige's side going forward on Tuesday nights.
Hey, look, Eric Bischoff's all in.
Yeah, shocking. Everybody that Mr. Conrad does podcasts for are all in. I'm so surprised.
Raw Women's Championship, Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss. No change here, right?
No, there's no way Nia loses this title. They would hurt her so bad, like it's not even funny. There's no way Nia should lose this title here.
Yeah, I agree. WWE United States Championship, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy. They only put it on Randy Orton so he could get the Grand Slam. There's no way they're taking it off Jeff Hardy here, correct?
God, you'd hope not. I hope Hardy wins here. But you can never count out Orton on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping WWE does the right thing and keeps it on Hardy. Orton in the United States title really doesn't do anything for me.
No.
So
Seth Rollins against The Miz. I think that's pretty much
this is a no-brainer.
Yeah. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, no DQ for the title. I'm gonna stick with you got me thinking with Joe, and part of me thought
until the Joe segment, I was all in on Nakamura winning this title, and now I'm like, man, I really want to see AJ Styles and Samoa Joe over the WWE title. So now I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but I feel like Nakamura needs this win.
I totally
really bad.
I could totally see AJ winning with a low blow, but I thought Nakamura was going to win at the Greatest Royal Rumble because this stretches out the feud like I want it to. So I'm going to book the way I want it to, and I'm going to go Nakamura here still.
Well, I feel like he has to win.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't,
it makes the heel turn irrelevant.
Yes, exactly. Like you did something with Nakamura for a month, but now even as a heel, and even in a match where there's no DQ, so you can hit your opponent in the balls as many times as you want to, you still can't win? That's bad.
Yeah. We came into this saying, oh, this card's kind of meh. But, I mean, there's half the card I'm looking forward to watching.
No, on paper, the card's good. I just don't think the build has been... build has been good for the show. They were too focused on the Greatest Royal Rumble.
I'm excited for Joe and Reigns. I'm excited for Hardy and Orton. I'm excited for Rollins and Miz, and I'm excited for Styles and Nakamura. The others, Bryan and Cass will be cool, and Carmella and Charlotte could have some twists. Bliss and Jackson, we all know that's going nowhere. And then the tag match I threw together with the Raw guys, it's basically a repeat of the past 2 weeks, is kind of lazy booking, which you'll agree with, Matt.
Yeah.
So... well, there you go. That's going to do it for this edition of Lost in the Midcard. We will be back at you on Monday. Daryl will be joining Matt and myself as we give you our instant reaction to Backlash. And once again, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. What you got to do is search for Lost in the Midcard and hit that subscribe button. That way you know every time a new episode comes your way, every Thursday and Monday after a WWE pay-per-view. And you can also subscribe to us on the YouTube. The links to all of those are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. Go to the pinned post there. Or you can go to our Twitter at LITMC Podcast. The pinned tweet there has got our subscription information as well. We share some of the great tweets from the wrestling world, so make sure you give us a follow there. Matt is on the Twitter at RawFShowtime. I am on the Twitter at JB Huskers. And once again, Matt, it's great to have you back. And what are your final thoughts?
It's great to be back. Happy to be back. Hoping for a good show with Backlash, and just keep on keeping on with a good May, and April's in the rearview mirror, and I'm never looking back.
For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for tuning in to Lost in the Midcard. We will be back at you Monday with our Backlash reaction.